Let's introduce these players. Spawning in the top right position as our pink Protoss, we have ESR's Disturbed. And spawning in the bottom left position, playing as the blue Protoss player for Fnatic, it is Harstem.
Yeah, Harstem, a friend of mine, met him a few times in real life. He's a really good Protoss player, has been picked up by Fnatic, I would say about 6 months ago, maybe a little bit longer. He's trying to get out there, trying to get his name out there. He did very well in the Premier League qualifiers, but wasn't quite able to make the cut. We have a lot of players that did well in the Premier League qualifiers and are now here to play in the Challenger League qualifiers. I'll name a few. One that you will definitely recognize is Panda Tank. He got a lot of exposure while he was trying to get into the Premier League, but he, every time, just like Harstem, wasn't quite able to make the cut. So they're going to do extremely well in the Challenger League, I suppose, and we might be able to catch some of those guys later on in the day.
Yeah. So you're going to be the Protoss expert here, Leary, and Star Station, pretty big map. There's a lot of space around the main base with a lot of in terms of the cliff usage. So I know as a Terran player, I'm always scared of plays like Blink. Is that something that we could possibly see on this map? Are we going to be looking maybe towards Stargate play? What's really the standard that we see a lot from Protoss players these days on this map at least?
On this map, I'd say you can do a few things. It is. You're right. Blink play is something that could happen on this map. There's a lot of cliff area that you can blink into the main base into, but then the entrance into the natural is relatively small. So you can just keep a few units there to defend against Stalkers and have, let's say, a few Immortals in your main base, and you are going to be able to defend against that quite well. What I want to point out is that the double gas that Harstem has thrown up is very characteristic of him. He always gets double gas before getting the cybernetic score, so that is not something that might give his strategy away. He just always does that. And wow, this is going to be giving his strategy away. He just throws that Stargate down right in front of that probe. He's not even going to wait a few seconds or attempt to hide it. That's how confident Harstem is feeling in this game. He just drops it down. He's like, okay, I'm going Stargate. What's your move?
Yeah, quite a gutsy play there. Harstem not really afraid. He didn't even tuck it anywhere like hidden. It was just right there for the probe to see. It does look like on the side of Disturbed, he's going to be going for a quick 3 Stalker rush. Is he going to get a Mothership Core, though, will be one of the questions to see. He's going to add on 2 gateways very quickly with 1 Gas Geyser. He could be just going for some very, very fast aggression off of these 3 gateways. What do you think? Are Zealots going to be pretty strong here? I mean, he is getting a Phoenix out, so...
Yeah, this is definitely all-in 4-gate. His third pylon is out across the map. It's not in his main base. He's not made any extra probes. He's sticking to only 20. This is really the classical 4-gate that I worked myself into Masters with a few seasons ago, as people always love to point out that I used to cheese quite a bit. I didn't cheat. I cheesed a lot. And that is what ESR Disturbed is going to do. This is the classical old-school 4-gate that we saw on Tell the Rim all the time. The Phoenix is going to take some damage in the middle of the map from the Stalkers, but doesn't lose that much HP, just most of his shields. And Harstem, I don't know, man, he's going to have a pretty difficult time of defending against this 4-gate. He has no sentries. He does, of course, have the Mothership Core for the Photon Overcharge, though. And
yeah, and you know what? I come back to my statement about hiding that Stargate, and suddenly I'm like, well, okay, everything is pretty close to the Nexus. The Photon Overcharge will be somewhat useful for defending, but the question is, he may be able to hold this off, but... what is it going to cost him? Now the Stalkers are moving in. He's going to immediately back up with the Photon Overcharge activated. That pylon is actually in radius of the Nexus cannon. A Void Ray being chrono boosted out. I feel like this is a smart decision, at least, to fight the Stalkers with the prismatic alignment, but I feel like it'll be really hard for him to actually get up the unit count that he needs to deal with this. He's only about 30 seconds away from his turret being gone.
Game 4.
What is, as Harstem pauses the game, what do you think he needs to do to hold this?
What he needs to do is get that Void Ray out. He needs more Stalkers. That Void Ray is going to help out immensely. There are a lot of Stalkers out on the field. Void Ray is doing quite well against Stalkers. He's got another 20 seconds until his Nexus cannon is going to end. So he has a little bit of extra time. But Disturbed, what is he going to try to do? He cannot push in there. Look at the positioning of Harstem Stargate. The Stalkers cannot hit the Stargate unless they will get hit by the Photon Overcharge. Photon Overcharge is now gone. Here come the Stalkers and the Zealots, and this is going to be the engagement. The Void Ray immediately charges up. no focus on the Void Ray. The Void Ray is doing a lot of damage in the back. We'll be able to kill a few Stalkers. The Phoenix have gone down, though, and more Zealot Warpins are coming in there. Harstem is pushing forward. He's trying to micro as best as he can. His Mothership Core has gone down, too, so no more Photon Overcharges. He's trying to warp in Stalkers, and Disturb is trying to focus down that one Void Ray. The Void Ray is very low on HP, and the unit count has been equalized quite a bit. They are on dead even supply, and I think Harstem is going to get the better end of this. Another Stalker comes in for Disturb, but the Zealots are tanking so much damage for Harstem and dealing quite a bit too.
Yeah, really good control, bringing the Stalkers back, trading as evenly as possible, and the tech advantage is definitely going to favor Harstem. If he can hold the Stalkers, he's managed to kill all the Stalkers of Disturbed, and I mean, once you get into that position, you can kite the Zealots all day. The Pylon will go down, and back at home, Mothership Core is coming out for Disturbed. Looks like he wants to he's suddenly, okay, I'm going to be defensive now, but Harstem has quite a large force, and is this a portion where we could see Harstem move out, or is he going to try to maybe macro behind this, get an expansion, or is he just going to go for the kill?
This is the part where you see Harstem just go for a pressure and expand off of this. He's going to keep his opponent on one base and expand behind this, I would expect. He's getting a Oracle to go for some harassment damage. He was producing probes up to a second ago. Yeah, there he goes, restarting probe production. Of course, a big hint of him continuing his macro play. And he's not going to pressure immediately. First, he's going to hunt down every proxy pylon on the map and supply block Disturbed. I mean, you're going to supply block him, force him to make more pylons instead of probes. His expansion is going to be later because he needs to build pylons. Disturbed cannot even spend his chrono energy because he's got nothing to chrono boost on. It's an incredibly difficult position to be in after a failed 4-gate to come back. You're going to be playing from so far down. It is truly very difficult.
Yeah, definitely. He's got a Sentry. He'll have 2 force fields to buy himself about 30 seconds. A Stargate coming out for Disturb, though. When you're kind of behind in this situation, and actually, look at the bottom right position. We have Disturb trying to get a ninja base. If there was ever a way to come back in PvP, if he could buy himself time, this might be it. The Oracle is going to run in. It's got about 4 kills so far. With that Stargate completing for Disturb, though, is this the right choice? Is his best chance of coming back in this game getting, like, sneaking an Oracle in there and just trying to kill a ton of probes? Or should he have gone for something more defensive, a robotics facility? He's actually getting Phoenix out.
Yeah, that's a weird decision. I mean, going for a Stargate when you're behind is not something you usually see. But when... Yeah, I'm not really sure what he's going to be hoping to do with these Phoenix. I mean, Harstem just made a single Oracle. He's not going to invest in making more. He's going to make Void Rays, and he's going to make a lot of them. Void Rays very powerful, and he might just hit a very powerful 2-base timing with his Void Rays, with a lot of his Stalkers, with his superior 2-base income. Because, let's face it, Disturbed is going to have 2 bases, but he's only going to have one of them really saturated. The second one is, just going to rely on probes being produced there. It's going to be a while.
That's a really good point. Harstem can just transfer them down, and he's already very close to saturating the natural.
Oh, the Oracle almost flew past the base in the bottom right there. So close.
Oh my god.
Whoa, that Oracle just making a turn to the left a little bit too early. Harstem might have been able to find that base, and that would have definitely ended the game. But for now, Disturbed is still in it, technically.
Yeah, from Harstem's perspective, not knowing about the base, he's going to get force fielded out for a little while. He's going to be okay. Well, as long as I keep you on one base, I should be okay. And when you kind of see this level of turtling, it's either you're playing a player that's you believe is a lower than you enough level that I just have to wait before I can kill him. But given a long enough period of time, Disturbed could put out a lot more units than Harstem could expect. But the Oracle now moving into the main base is going to be able to pick off quite a few more probes for the Phoenix. Does pick it off. Just looking at a couple of numbers, we have 8 probes killed this game so far by Harstem and none by Disturbed. So it's definitely a somewhat favorable position for him. I like that Harstem is getting the photon cannons in case of any cloak play, be it Observer or Dark Templar, and at least some form of defense for Oracles. But the +1 attack coming in for Harstem, it's so weird to think about how the dynamic of this is going to pan out as Disturbed finally now has a couple of probes mining this natural expansion, or I guess the ninja base.
Yeah, there should soon be a bell that's ringing in Harstem's head that says there's a proxy base somewhere, there's a hidden base somewhere, because there's no way he would stay on one base for that long. I mean, he's going to scout in there, maybe with the probe that we see on the other side of the map. The probe is actually catching the army of Disturbed moving out, and Harstem sees that army and he thinks, wow, that's small. I can defend against that very easily with my Void Ray that I have out. He actually only has 1 Void Ray. The probe count for Disturbed is actually in favor. What the hell? How did that happen? Disturbed is actually up in the probe count right now. So you're right, Nathaniel. This game is going to be so weird because there's going to be an economic advantage for Disturbed as of now. So he might be able to make the comeback.
Yeah, it's just not something you see every day, really. And these are ways to lose games, but Harstem is still all right. And I think the worst thing that could happen would be if Disturbed was able to get his natural up, getting up enough forces off of his ninja base, and then basically having 3-base economy. But Harstem, he's still got a bit of a lead. The problem is these force fields. I'd almost like to see him get a Dark Shrine just to try to get an Archon to bust this, or at least a Colossus, because right now he's kind of just. He's playing this game where it's almost like he's too comfortable. He's not forcing the issue when he has a really big opportunity, because the longer this game does go on, like you said, it's just going to become more and more even. And look at that supply really starting to narrow that gap is Disturbed.
I'm watching this Phoenix. Are you watching this Phoenix, Nathaniel? This Phoenix. I think this Phoenix is going to be the hit. Oh, Phoenix stops moving. I thought that Phoenix was going to go over to the middle base and then check the bottom right, because Harstem just hallucinated the Phoenix and he is sending them out everywhere. He's sending one to the left side of the map. He's got observers on the left side, but he's not controlling that hallucinated Phoenix in the bottom right. There goes another hallucinated Phoenix, and it's flying straight for that hidden base in the bottom right. And if that gets found, the only way Disturbed can hope to defend that is with a recall. But if he recalls there, the Harstem will just walk back to the main base of Disturbed and he will not be there to defend. So
yeah,
it's weird. But he can recall twice, can he not?
He can double recall. We'll be playing ping pong with the Protoss armies is what's going to happen. I mean, the supply it's just getting closer and closer, and the immortal count is so high, these Stalkers are really going to get laid to waste with the Void Ray count as well. So I feel like the tech choice, or at least the composition decision from Disturbed, is going to be ideal for killing Stalkers. As long as he doesn't get caught by too many bad force fields. But, well, Harstem now knows about that base. He saw the Nexus with the Phoenix. 4 Zealots are making their way over there. And Disturbed is going to try to move out and possibly defend this. He has a Colossus of his own. But Harstem says, no, back off. He will be able to get some Zealots into this base. I don't think he's got too many resources to warp in reinforcements. He'll warp in 4 Zealots of his own to hold this off. And, well, that +1 attack might actually help Harstem take this, doing some nice, cute Zealot micro. And the army is moving out for Disturbed.
Yeah, Disturbed now realizing, oh man, what am I gonna do? I'm gonna lose that base in the bottom right. If I recall my army there, he's gonna kill my main base, and I cannot warp in enough units to defend because I only have 6 gateways, whereas Harstem had more for the early part of that engagement at that natural, or at that second base, I should say, of Disturbed. And Harstem is definitely getting the better end of that engagement, and that is making Disturbed desperate. He knows he's got to move in and make something work. He knows that base is forfeit. He knows he has to make an all-in push. He's gonna have 2 Colossi with range and a lot of Immortals. But Harstem has so much more stuff.
And Disturbed just mined the last mineral in his main base. This is it. He's lost that expansion for the most part. He has to do something now. The Colossus is moving in. Photon Overcharge activated by Harstem. Harstem is going to be able to actually completely sandwich him between that Nexus and his army. He's going to try to focus the Nexus down with the Immortals, but there's the GG from Disturbed. Realizes he can't do it, and Harstem is going to take game number 2 in this best of 3 series.